in lesson 79, part 3, we continue to look at the great players and what we can learn from their idiosyncrasies, the things that look unorthodox but obviously work very well for the player in question. Now, if there was ever a marriage made in heaven for a player and a coach, it was Faldo and David Leadbetter. Faldo was a tournament victor in the European Tour, had won in America, but felt that his swing was limiting him. And in 1985, he put himself under Leadbetter's tutelage, and 2.5 years later, despite being mocked by his peers for changing his swing, he won his first major at Muirfield. I think it was the 1987 Open at Muirfield. And in his thank you speech, Faldo showed great gratitude to Leadbetter, and in that speech he went worldwide, and Leadbetter became a phenomenon. Now, if you're a teaching pro watching me talk about Leadbetter, it doesn't matter if we agree or don't agree with him. He transformed the teaching industry. Everyone who makes a living out of teaching golf should thank David Leadbetter for promoting the coaching of the game. Before that, it was a bit hit and miss. In fact, some amateur golfers, particularly in Britain, would think it was a little bit unusual to go for lessons if you're an amateur. But what Leadbetter got people to understand, even good players needed coaching, and the coaching industry developed as a great thing. Now, David Leadbetter was the pro up at Staverton Park, about an hour and a quarter north of Milton Keynes, where I am today, and he sent his head assistant off to all the prominent teachers in the country to have a lesson. And he got the lad to write down the key points of each lesson. So the guy booked lessons with David Jacobs, Alex Hay, John Sterling, and so on. And he basically gathered and garnered the key points. But he also observed the swing of great players. Now, in Alex Hay's book, there's a lovely black and white drawing of Lee Trevino. And the thing that Leadbetter noticed about Lee Trevino was how the club face stayed square through impact for so long. And in the early 70s, it made Trevino the most accurate player and the best controller of a golf ball. For me, he's in the top 5 of all time. I think Trevino is a staggeringly good golfer. He's nearly 80 now, still playing the game. But in terms of ball control, he was probably in the top 5 of all time players. And Leadbetter was clever. He picked up on this. So prior to David Leadbetter's influence, people understood that as the club head went back, it rotated through 90 degrees. In the downswing, the club face would rotate through 180. And in the hickory swing, in the old upright wristy days, that was very true. But what Leadbetter had noticed from Trevino's swing, he noticed that rather than going back and rotating and the hands rising with the draw spin, Trevino kept the handle low, the blade stayed square, and he stood up. So the hallmark of Nick Faldo's swing is that he didn't swing back in plane and finish in the same body angle. He stood up slightly. In other words, there was a mild hint, well, not mild hint, a strong hint of Trevino's downswing movement. David Leadbetter gave us the beach ball to hold, and he showed in the old days the beach ball rolled this way and then rolled that way. But what Trevino did, the beach ball rolled this way, but then it stayed there and the body moved. It's a fade spin mechanism. Faldo's a hugely powerful man, big unit, doesn't hit the ball pound for pound as far as he should, because his mechanism was a fade mechanism that gave great accuracy and ball control. I remember being at Woburn on the Tuesday morning after Faldo's first win at Augusta, and he came to Woburn, he parked his red Porsche, got his own practice ball bag out and started hitting golf balls. And I was just him and me, I was watching him from a little distance, and it was like watching someone play darts. It was just click, click, click. And my assistant Gareth caddied for him in the afternoon, and he came and said, he hits 2 more clubs than we do. Now, we're not long hitters, me and Gareth, just club pro and assistant pro, but Faldo had plenty of club in his hand. He was giving up some distance because of fade spin. He wasn't swinging more gently, but the fade spin gave him control. So here we go. This is the Faldo movement. Beautiful backswing in plane. The delivery of the shaft is where it was at address. So here's the shaft plane at address, into the biomechanical plane, and in Faldo's case he dropped back. So here we go. This is the 17th of St Andrews, and I'm going to play a little Faldo-esque fade. So quite happy with the result, but you can see that my body angle changed a little bit. So I think it was really clever of David Leadbetter to pick up on what Trevino did and then impart it to Nick Faldo. And while it lost a few yards of distance to Faldo, it did give him 6 majors. So hats off to Nick and hats off to Leadbetter for helping the teaching pro across the world.